So we're going to start first of all by rotating this image. So that's under image and then down to image rotation and 180 degrees. Flip that over, zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Right? And then let's go ahead and crop this one. So when you crop, my recommendation is to not put any numbers up here. I tend to default to the width height resolution setting, but no numbers. So I'm not going to change anything about the size of this image. I'm just going to get rid of the white border and the extra stuff from the scan. You could get fancy and get rid of this through that crop. However, the way it's photos set up, I think I would leave that if I were you and just work on trying to repair that. Now, this is one that benefits from doing image adjustments and desaturate. It will get rid of that sort of orangey color where that scratch is on the left side. Okay, so it makes it a little less noticeable. And then image adjustments and levels. And this one could use a little better black. And definitely a little better white. You don't want to do that until after you've cropped. In fact, actually, I probably shouldn't do that until after I've fixed this and this. So let me cancel that really quick like. And let's do really quick. We'll do a quick grab of this. Deselect. And then this, I tend to want to do this with the clone stamp. So clone stamp. I'll line up, let's start here, make this a little bit smaller. I tend to use things that help me line up. So for instance, on this, the edge of this post, if I use that as my target, and then I come down here, I can see the edge of that post and I can line it up that way. My goal is simply to get rid of that white. That looks better. Okay, so now if I do a true white, quick spot healing, I shouldn't be distracted by anything that isn't white in the image. So, image adjustments, levels. So bring up that black a little bit, bring down this white a little bit, possibly mess with the contrast. You're not going to want to watch up here because that's all washed out. But I think a little darker contrast on this tends to be better. Say okay. Now, this is the reason why I wanted to do this one for you. There are things you need to fix through here, her ankle, the scratches. Obviously, I already fixed that, and I kind of fixed this. But the big thing in this that we didn't get a chance to talk about, one of the repair tools that we didn't look at, we've got a dodge, burn, and sponge tool. The burn tool will darken things, the dodge tool will lighten things, the sponge tool takes color out. So we don't need the sponge tool, obviously. But in this case, the burn tool actually could be useful. And up in a burn tool, remember I say look at your options. So your options show it's a brush. If you've got range and shadows, you can look at that. You've got midtones and highlights as well. Right? And then exposure 50%, so this is how quickly this happens. Protecting tones is generally a good idea. Obviously, in this case, we're not using color, so it's going to be not going to be as noticeable. And then typically when I use the burn tool, I use it quite large, and I use it very carefully, very sparingly. So like here in this corner, I might burn in through here a little bit. I could burn in through here a little bit. I don't want to go crazy with it. You can see even like darkening up the faces a little bit, give it a little bit more shadows, and that's what I'm on right now. Okay, if you wanted to go highlights and burn in through here, it'll tone that down. It's going to look kind of gray, but it's not quite so distractingly bright, right? Mid-tones. If I do that, it's going to get darker. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so probably not what I want. See what I mean? That one actually kind of works. All right, so just to give you a quick look at what that looks like. So where do we go? Levels, let's go there. Okay, just those burn tools to darken that up, all of a sudden it looks a little bit better. So the other things in here, you can go back to using the tools that we looked at before, the spot healing brush, patch tool, and or clone stamp. But this one I wanted to introduce the dodge, burn, and sponge tool, and in particular dodge and burn, and this one needs the burn tool because that will darken that up there. So there you go.